Good afternoon, I'm Herman Green with the Midday News. A special welcome to those of you watching online at onespotmedia.com. Mayhem in the Ramsey Road community off Maxfield Avenue in San Andreo this morning as gunmen sprayed residents with bullets, injuring several persons, including a 6-month-old baby. Our reporter Kirk Wright was on the scene and now joins us by phone. Kirk, what can you tell us?
I'm here on Maxfield Avenue where there's a large contingent of police and soldiers. There's a crime scene. 3 persons were shot and injured. That includes a baby, about 6 months old, and a woman who was holding a baby. The reports we're getting at this time is that a woman was sitting at a gate where a shop is, holding the baby in her hand when a grey Tida motor car drove up. 2 men alighted. One came out with a pump rifle, we're told, 5 shots in the direction of the woman, hitting her in the stomach and the baby in the head. We're not sure of the medical condition, but we were told that the child was taken to the Kingston Public Hospital and later transferred to the Bustamante Hospital for Children. We understand that all the persons who were injured have been admitted. A gentleman, a young man, we understand, also got shot in his leg, one of his legs. We're not sure which of them, but his condition is not considered serious. He's stable. We're not sure of the condition of the child and the woman who was holding the baby. But at the moment, the police are here along with the military monitoring situations here on Maxfield Avenue.
All right, thank you. Our reporter Kirk Wright there reporting from Ramsey Road off Maxfield Avenue in San Andreo. Meanwhile, the Constabulary Communications Network, CCU, has provided more details on the shooting death of a police constable on Waterloo Road in San Andreo this morning. He has been identified as Constable Deron Henry, who was attached to the Motorized Patrol Division. A statement from the CCU this morning said that about 3:25, Constable Henry, who was on suspension from the force, was reportedly working as a security guard at a business place on Waterloo Road. Now, he was alerted to a suspicious motor car that was at the location. Constable Henry went to make checks and was greeted with gunfire. He received multiple bullet wounds and was assisted to the hospital where he died. Another man who was in the vicinity at the time of the shooting was also injured. With more murders recorded in Portland this year compared to 2017, the police in that parish say they are putting measures in place to bring the matter under control. There have been 5 killings so far this year, 3 more than last year. Head of the crime portfolio in the parish, Detective Linton Bailey, says even though it's a marginal increase in crime, the strategies are still important. The Portland police held a Business Watch meeting recently where they released the statistical data on the crime and violence that has been plaguing the parish.
Other crimes like breaking, we are showing a reduction of 7. Robbery, a reduction of 4. Rape, a reduction of 1. And larceny, a reduction of 3. We have an increase in shooting by 2, aggravated assault by 1, and as I mentioned, murder by 3. Of the 5 murders committed this year, 4 were committed in the Port Antonio police area. 1 at Bridge Street, 1 in the town, 2 in the town, and 1 in the Cooper's Hill Mount Olive area.
Detective Bailey is appealing to persons who have been affected by crime to speak out.
The persons that crime affects most are not here. The persons who are more vulnerable to being murdered, they are not here. It is the persons who would have had that love and that respect for life, and that is all of us here. Our function here is to see how best we collectively can guard this right. And I must say, I am happy that I am a part of this process in trying to protect the life of each individual.
There's an urgent appeal for immediate action to be taken to avoid a political crisis from emerging within the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, ECJ, in the wake of the developments yesterday. Public commentator Martin Henry is pushing for the withdrawal of the two nominated PNP members on the commission who have declared that there are serious issues within the ECJ that need attention. The Electoral Commission of Jamaica comprises 3 selected commissioners, the Director of Elections, and 2 nominated members each for the PNP and the JLP. The controversy developed following the resignation of Director of Elections Orrit Fisher, who alleged political interference. The ECJ issued a subsequent statement denying knowledge of such interference. However, news came yesterday that the 2 PNP-nominated members of the Electoral Commission, Julian Robinson and Wentworth Skeffrey, had distanced themselves from the statement. Now, they have alleged instances they have seen where the behavior from the commissioner that they viewed as disrespectful, abusive, and hostile to Mr. Fisher. Mr. Henry states that the ECJ's role is too important for this issue to be left alone. He argues that without intervention, this is now under threat and the Prime Minister's voice is needed.
He is correct in his assertions. He himself and Skeffrey should refuse, absolutely refuse, to sit any further on the Compromise Commission. The person who appointed them should absolutely refuse to send back his representatives or to name replacements. Let us bring it to a crisis. Let us bring it to a Rubicon that we have to cross and call it. And Prime Minister Andrew Woolness will have to respond to the charges leveled against his appointee if he plans to remain a credible Prime Minister.
A St. Thomas family remains homeless after fire destroyed their 4-bedroom house on Monday. The cause of the fire is still not known. TVJ's Shamela Mitchell reports.
Fire rages minutes after 4 Monday afternoon in Newland, St. Thomas. Firefighters tried to battle the blaze as onlookers watched helplessly. 52-year-old Michelle Brown, her son and grandson watched as the fire spread quickly, engulfing their house. Community members could not believe what was being played out before their eyes.
Completely. Yeah. This is a current.
The Yalas Fire Station said they received a telephone call about the fire and a team was dispatched immediately.
On arrival at the given location, the brigade got into operation at 2.5 hours. Brigade discovered that a 4-bedroom dwelling house was on fire. After fighting the fire for about 25 minutes to half hour, we got the fire under control.
But not much was saved.
There was a major damage to furniture and the structural building. So we are doing an assessment of what is damaged and also what caused the fire.
Meanwhile, Miss Brown and her family are staying with relatives until they can get help to pick up the pieces and rebuild. Shamela Mitchell, TVJ News.
Jamaicans are being advised to take precaution when purchasing a house. This after a top real estate attorney and a real estate agent were arrested for fraud. More from TVJ's Jeline Pearson.
On Friday, May 11, 2018, Estate Attorney Jennifer Masado was arrested in a major fraud probe. The Counterterrorism and Organized Crime branch reported that Ms. Masado was arrested for the sale of a property in the corporate area that had forged documents. Real estate agent and corporate developer Beverly Barakat was taken into custody on May 13, 2018. She was arrested in connection with the intensifying police investigation into a fraud case against Ms. Masado. Speaking on TVJ's Smile Jamaica on Monday, attorney-at-law Tamika Harris said this is the first time Jamaica is recording a case like this.
It is a situation where she pretended that she was acting on the vendor's behalf, but she was not acting at all on the vendor's behalf, and she collected funds because from the purchasers because they legitimately assumed that she was acting on the vendor's behalf and was in the process of purchasing the property. In this case, the real estate agent was also arrested. And from what her attorney is saying, she did not meet the vendor's attorney. She did not meet the vendor at all. And she was acting on instructions from the attorney.
Ms. Harris issued the advice on how to prevent being scammed when purchasing a property.
Communicate with the real estate agent, him or herself, to find out if they met the actual vendor and to get a document from the actual vendor indicating that they have given the real estate agent instructions to go about and look for a purchaser on my behalf. So we need to first also find out if the agent has a legitimate license to act as an agent. You definitely would need a lawyer in your corner. There are certain things that the lawyers would check for.
Right.
To see that if the person who's selling has the capacity to sell, that is the actual owner that is on the title. The lawyer will need to be in your corner to, verify.
Right.
If there's a case on the property.
Jeline Pearson, TVJ News.
The opposition is calling on the education minister to provide details on whether he had fulfilled his promise of paying the tuition of students who were not able to sit their exams last year. In April 2017, the government said it had allocated $300 million to help financially challenged Jamaican students at the University of the West Indies, UWI, University of Technology, UTech, and the Caribbean Maritime University, CMU. The funds were to be made available in September last year. The allocation followed a press release from the Guild of Students from UWI Mona. They had called for support from the ministry for students who had outstanding fees to be granted permission to sit their final examinations in May 2017. But speaking at a People's National Party divisional meeting on Sunday, opposition Senator Wentworth Skeffrey made this revelation.
I said they're not getting the money yet. I'm issuing a call tonight, calling out the Minister of Education to come clean by Monday morning, if latest Tuesday, and tell the reality. Have you paid that $100 million that you promised the poor people's children of Jamaica so they could have sat their exam last year?
Mr. Skeffrey also called on the government to establish a rescue plan for the tertiary students who are faced with financial challenges.
Those who can pay should pay, but those who can't must not be denied because of financial resources. That wasn't the philosophy of Norman Manley. Certainly not of Michael Manley.
Since the fallout of bauxite mining in Manchester, the parish has been seeking new ways of boosting investment in the parish. However, there hasn't been much success on that front. TVJ's O'Shane Masters takes a closer look.
Often described as a parish of returning residents, life in the parish of Manchester has been on a low since the closure of the Kirkvine alumina plant. But since that closure in 2009, a number of initiatives were visited in an effort to boost the economy of the parish. One such initiative was to make the capital of the parish a university town. However, that is yet to be materialized. Still, efforts are being looked at to improve the economic outlook for the parish. These efforts are being spearheaded by the Manchester Chamber of Commerce, MCOC. Speaking with TVJ News recently, President of the MCOC, Garfield Green, said they are now looking at a few new ventures.
We're looking for accommodations, business accommodations, we're looking for conferencing facilities, and we're looking for entertainment. The young people who are coming into the parish need to be entertained, they need to be kept here, especially when it comes to weekend.
The parish is also moving towards more involvement in community-based tourism. This will be seen through the redevelopment of Resource, a community in the parish. Lady President of the UNIA, Valerie Dixon, says the history of Resource and the teachings of Marcus Garvey can be a beneficial boost to the parish's economic growth.
It is my hope that if there is cooperation between the powers that be, the stakeholders in the community, and the very people themselves would want to know of this legacy. And Garveyites all over the world, it is my dream that Resource would become the Mecca where people will come on sabbaticals or just come to see where it all began, and so spend some well-needed foreign exchange in this community.
Meanwhile, Central Manchester MP Peter Bunting has also issued a call for diversification in the wealth of the parish.
We have to have a diversified economy that will allow us to ride out the cycles, the business cycles in any particular industry, whether it be mining, whether it be in business process outsourcing, or anything else.
In the meantime, a memorandum of understanding was signed between the Manchester Municipal Corporation and the MCOC aimed at facilitating projects which should stimulate growth. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
And that wraps up the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. Join us at 7 for the Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.